Here is a 2024 Acura Integra A-Spec with tech in lunar silver over black suede inserts because of the tech package. I'm going to go over the different features that you get with the trims, comparable rivals, pros and cons, in which will lead me to the problem that I have with the Integra. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. 5.1 inches of clearance on all trims except for the Type S, which that's a different animal compared to this. Standard dual LED headlights and chicane LED daytime runnings. The A-Spec with tech gets the LED fog lights, and you're getting the gloss black elements that's going to be on the lower part. Front and rear parking sensors is because of the tech package, and the grille has a 3D dimensional style which emphasizes motion, whether the vehicle is at a set still or it's actually driving. All trims will option the same 1.5 liter inline 4-cylinder VTEC, producing 200 horsepower and 192 pound-feet of torque paired to a CVT transmission, achieving 29 mpgs for the city, 36 mpgs for the highway. So when you're thinking you get a sporty drive, you're still saving in fuel with the weight distribution at 6139. Standard wheel is a 17-inch. This is an 18-inch shark gray because of the A-Spec. And when you go A-Spec, it's changing the bumpers and it's giving you an exterior kit. And the lower skirt will flare out. But the big question starts, is this going to be competitive against the Germans? BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. Those are going to be closer to a 50-50 weight distribution. But then when you're thinking price, you're going to be spending at least 7 to 10 grand more to get features similar to this, in which you're getting better gas consumption. And we do have a Type S, which has 320 horsepower, which is night and day difference than this, because you're nearly 50% more horsepower than this, with a 4-piston front brake Brembo setup, because it's going to be a little bit more track oriented. It's still not going to be classified with an M or an AMG 63 model, but then when you're thinking price, it's going to be half of what those variants would cost, in which this is going to lead me to the big problem that I have. You can option a CVT transmission or a 6-speed manual, which you will get a limited slip differential with the 6-speed manual. However, it's only front-wheel drive variants. Even going into the Type S, still front-wheel drive. No super handling all-wheel drive. And when you're thinking the Germans, which Acura has been trying to go after them more so than Infiniti and Lexus, they're not going to be able to compete taking bends in the road because they're not offering the all-wheel drive system, and the weight distribution is not going to be as airtight as the Germans. Chicane LED taillights is standard. The A-Spec comes into the rear with the lower bumper getting more aggressive, dual exhaust outlets, the gloss black tips, and the trunk lid spoiler. And ticking the box for the Integra, it can only be optioned as a hatchback, in which you're going to be receiving more cargo space, and it's going to have that European fastback look. Quick release going into 24.3 cubic feet of storage. It does sit up a little bit because of the hatchback design, LED interior lights, a storage nook, ELS Studio 3D, which is part of the tech package, giving us 16 speakers. Underneath the floor, you'll receive a tire pump, and if you're tall like me, you can split fold the bench in the cargo at a 60-40 split. That's going to max the cargo to the hatchback. These are sports seats with micro suede inserts, 12-way power seat adjustment, standard heated front seats. 4-way power seat adjustment for the passenger also starts on this package with memory for the driver. Headroom and leg room. The sport pedals is because of the A-Spec. It's a driver-focused setup. I like the brushed aluminum look that goes in between the honeycomb for the air vents. So it's not like the Honda, it's a little bit different. Heads-up display because of the tech pack. 9-inch infotainment screen with wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, Wi-Fi hotspot, Amazon Alexa, Acura Link. Put it into reverse and we get a reverse camera. The trajectory will expand and you can change different camera layouts to make it a little bit easier for you. You have physical buttons and a knob for the sound system, which is a 16 speaker ELS Studio 3D because of the tech pack. Dual climate control settings, wireless charger because of the tech pack, and the key fob for the Integra. Driving mode select on the standard digital reader, which starts with Sport, Normal, and Comfort. When you push on Individual, you can custom, and you can make all this as sporty as you would like, even changing the gauge cluster. Gloss black elements is going to surround the cup holder area, and it's going to be a little bit more soft. Opens up, it's pushed back, but it's deep. Leather wrap steering wheel, that's standard. Gloss black elements and the A-Spec badging. Paddle shifts, and that gauge cluster can go through an array of information for the driver, including the sound system, Amazon Alexa, your Bluetooth connectivity, door panel and dash configuring together, and you have that aluminum brush look that comes into play with the satin aluminum underneath it. One touch up and down for the front windows, soft to touch where it needs to be. A medium-sized storage pocket with a beverage holder carved out, auto-dimming rear view mirror, and a moonroof. Back seat, headroom, and it actually has like a little bit of a lip here. So when you sit back, you have to kind of scoot down a little bit, making leg space a little bit more cramped. No storage behind the driver's seat, only the passenger. 2 USB ports, cup holders with an armrest, and the door is going to be stripped of that aluminum look, and it's only going to be soft to touch where it needs to be with a smaller storage pocket. Sliding to the center, the floor isn't flat, the rails are pushed up enough. You're not going to share too much feet space, but leg and shoulder space you will be sharing a little bit more so because the way the seats contour, but headroom is actually a little bit better sitting into the center. 200 horsepower, 192 pound-feet of torque. It feels pretty quick and lively. You sit low to the ground, but I appreciate that because this is a sportback design. Visibility is still good, and you have plenty of clearance because you have 5.1 inches. Going back to the competition, when you're thinking the Germans, all of them are going to either start or still be $4,000 or $5,000 more than this with this spec'd out, in which all of them are going to have close to the same horsepower. Torque will be a little bit different. When I'm thinking MPGs, interior space, and a comfortable drive for every day, because when you go BMW and Audi, it starts getting a little bit more rigid. Mercedes, it starts using harder materials where it should be more plush, but you have to go up classes in order to get those type of materials in Mercedes-Benz. But we need to see this inline turbo go. Doesn't do too bad on some twisty roads. And switching it back into normal mode will make the RPM go down a little bit. I wish that they didn't offer a CVT transmission. Maybe on the base trim do that, but give us like a 6 or 7 speed automatic transmission. But as it sits, it's still a fun, playful vehicle. It's going to take me to some pros and cons. Starting off with the pros is when you get the A-Spec, it makes the vehicle look a lot more athletic on the exterior, and it does give you amenities on the interior. Ticking the box for the tech takes it up a notch, because now you're getting the wireless charging pad, you're getting the front and rear parking sensors, heads-up display. It just gives you a lot more amenities in which you're not having to go over 40 grand in order to get these items, which if you go into the Germans, that's going to be the case. If you go into Lexus and Infiniti, the Infiniti, they don't make a hatchback, nor does Lexus. So it's going to be a lot more tight in the back seats. Cargo capacity is going to be a little bit less also. And yes, the Infiniti has a twin turbo V6 engine. It has a lot more horsepower. However, you're starting in the 40 grand pricing just to get that off the lot. This is right at 40 grand with features. That's why the Integra is kind of that sweet spot, because we don't have a vehicle that fits in that slot where it's affordable anymore. $40,000, $50,000, there's a lot of vehicles you can buy in which performance is definitely going to be key, But at that price, it should be given to you. And you're getting that performance in a more compact version with an everyday drive. The cons have to start with the way the infotainment screen is integrated, because it just comes out of the dash. Audi does a similar thing, in which I'm not a huge fan of that. I would like it to be more integrated into the dash, because they did a good job making this not look like a Honda, but keeping some of the attributes that keep it sporty. So I like that they've taken those cues and they have changed it, because when you go into Honda, all the vehicles look the same. Put it back into sport mode. Turn radius is going to be about 2 lanes. Let's see how she goes. The exhaust note filters in, throw it into comfort, and you're not going to hear the exhaust note at all. But the road noise becomes a little bit more excessive, and you do have a long hood, but you can tell where the front bumpers are because of the indentions of it. Going back to some cons, they do not offer leather seats at all, which when I'm going from Honda to Acura, I would like to see that, because when you go Nissan, they offer leather, but when you go Infiniti, you're starting to get things like Napa leather or Anaheim leather. You don't have that at all here. Another con is if you're shorter than me, I'm at 6'3", I could see where the center cluster becomes barely elbow rest. I wish that they had maybe a cover so that way it would slide over at least one of the cup holders, only to give a little bit more of a comfortable ride for the armrest because of the way you sit in this vehicle. Only 4-way power seat adjustment for the passenger. When you start going into the German rivals, you're at least getting 8-way power seat adjustment. But for a daily drive vehicle that has some performance, I think the Integra sets itself apart. If you need more performance, you go into the Type S. You're not spending a whole lot more in the sense of going to like an M or an AMG variant. So the savings is there, and you still have a plush everyday drive. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Regal Acura for giving us this 2024 Acura Integra A-Spec with tech for our car review.